You are joining us here inside the Entrepreneur Circle on WOOW 1340 AM with
Audacity means bold, courageous, with enough tenacity to defy unconventional thinking. Audacity Group Social Enterprise was and is a derivative of an idea that started some 15 years ago as a mother of 3 children at that time, wife of a politician, full-time employee, and a community in a downward spiral, northern Pitt County. Within a 30-mile radius, you could count on one hand the amount of programming that was available for this large area that has been forgotten about for so many years. And in the news were alarming rates or risings of juvenile delinquency, burglaries, gang activity, and you name it, it was going on. So I decided at that point that there was a need to do something and that something had to start with me as a mother who was facing some of those very same difficulties in my own home. As a 2-parent family, giving all the love we can to our children, some of the things that we were experiencing, we didn't understand, but we did know that there was something we had to do. So my goal was to come up with an idea that would keep families from feeling the effects of the lack of programs where our children were at a loss from the hours of 3 to 5, or with the rise of single parent homes and our job structures, which required some parents to work second and third shifts. And I want to be mindful not to stigmatize, because what was going on in my home was going on in a lot of homes, and the demographics were different. There were single parents, there were married parents, there were absent parents, there were children being cared for by grandparents. So the demographics were different. But what was constant in all of this was that we lived in an area north of the river that was without options for us. So I decided one day that, with the blessing of my last baby girl, to come home, that there was something else needed, and I was chosen by God to be that someone to move forward with this baby that I was carrying, to develop something and give the parents some hope for change. So I started a nonprofit agency called Youth Today Community Resources, which was an agency that provided personal development and leadership for young people from school age 5 to 18. And we even had family involvement. We did after school, we did summer programs, we did family service events, we coupled with community policing, just an awesome collaboration of individuals, our city of Greenville, our county, our Pitt County school system. Many people came to the table to assist me in getting that program off the ground. And granted, now I knew nothing about nonprofits, but what was exciting to me was there was an idea, and I was willing to go the extra mile to do whatever I had to make it work. And so with the help of all the great pioneers who came before me and the municipalities of this great town, I was able to get what I needed to open the center, which after Hurricane Floyd devastated our community, we opened the doors in our new facility north of the river. After 5 years of being there and providing, great services to our community, you know how you ever hear the story that you plant a seed and then someone else comes along and waters the seed and it grows? Well, I'm just excited as I can be when I reflect on that time, how the Boys and Girls Club was shortly thereafter built, but there was a need for a political statement before it was realized that there was actually a need for a Boys and Girls Club north of that river, because what we do know is that the inner city, when you have access to inner city programs, which is where most programs exist, there's less likelihood for some of the things that we were experiencing north of the river, and that was the rise in juvenile delinquency. So, of course, I decided at that point that after 5 years that I wanted to not only serve a population, but I wanted to also understand more about that population. And many of the children and families that I was serving had someone they loved involved in the system, the criminal justice system. And if we look deep within our own families, I'm sure there's somebody you can think of that's been affected by the criminal justice system, or just decisions that they made that landed them into the system. So I decided that, in order to understand and to do better and to make a difference, I truly had to understand this system we call criminal justice. I went back to school and I pursued my degree in criminal justice and a master's in criminal justice as well at Fayetteville State University. And people, often said, well, you plan on working, in the prison or penal? I have no desire to work in the penal system. My sole reason for going to pursue criminal justice was to understand the system and how to navigate that system, how to educate a population of people to deter them from crime, to understand the theoretical perspectives that were causing this social ill, if you want to say. And so I achieved those things. But what I did also understand, we were dealing not only with that, but we were dealing with a lot of individuals who had substance abuse issues. So I decided to understand that as well. Let me go back and get my credentials in that area. And so I did that as well, prepared my toolbox to better equip me to rehabilitate, because what we know about our criminal justice system is that its sole purpose was to deter crime, however, and keep our public safe. However, surveillance will never do it. Surveillance is never just a good thing. If we are to keep our public safe, we have to provide rehabilitative options or programs to bring people to a different way of thinking. And that was critical for me, and something that was the theme of my studies. No matter what I wrote on, it was my theme about the criminal justice system, and that was, we must do something to change the way people think. And we don't want to create a Band-Aid of sorts and just be a crutch to individuals, but we want to empower them in a way to solve this really, really big problem. So I decided at that point that just like every nonprofit, we're looking for grants, we're looking for monies to sustain. And what I did understand through my research is that I didn't want anyone changing my mission. I didn't want anybody altering the way I was going to do things, because everything was given to me by God, and my thinking I wasn't down with anyone telling me in order to receive these funds, this is what I was going to have to do. Not that I'm non-conforming. I just have I had a purpose, and the purpose was not to be altered or deviated from. And so I decided at that point that I needed to come up with a source of funds that was going to provide something new and innovative to a community of individuals who were impaired now as a result of poor decision-making. A community of individuals, not just from poor decision-making, because we also know that structural violence exists in our community, and that there is just a long history of a gap. We didn't start out at the same rate, and we can't be expected to end at the same rate. But what I do know is that we serve a mighty good God, and so since I know that, that's the point at which I operate. So God gave me the concept of a social enterprise, which I studied for a while, and decided that the social enterprise is a way of creating sustainability through a for-profit venture that addresses some larger problem in our society. And Audacity's sole mission is to serve as a catalyst that promotes self-sufficiency, independence, sustainability, and social partnerships for change through entrepreneurship. So if we can teach people the skills they need to come up with an idea that lies within each of us, then we can essentially change the outcomes to be in our favor. So there you have it. That is where Audacity derived. That's the history. That's who we are today. And the agency lives to teach the skills, to lead by example, which God has blessed me with so many talents and skills, and that I can now be an independent mover and shaker. But I've always been one to reach back and take my brother and my sister along. And when I say my brother and my sister, that's each of you who want to go, and those sometimes who resist. I live to speak to the wall if I have to, until that wall moves. And that's to change the lives and the direction of people and the paths that they have chosen, to get them on that narrow path to do something great for themselves. And so I am truly excited about Audacity and the concept that we have to support our foundation now, because Youth Today became a foundation of research after my own heart. Once I left from across the river, we became more of an indirect provider through educating those who provide direct services. So you see, we started with direct services. I then was able to learn more about the population and teach the concepts of what they need through research-based, evidence-based practices. And that's when we shifted to Case-by-Case Research Foundation. We just changed the name, and the dream lived on, only at a new level. And from there, we became more philanthropic, and that's where we now provide seed money for those agencies that fit within the mission of educating, engaging, and empowering individuals through evidence-based programming. Well, Audacity is aligned with Case by Case in its objectives and goals annually. And so this year, with all said and done, the agency Case by Case Research Foundation goals are to connect with one of the largest group of people that are most likely to be unemployed, and that is the ex-offender. The ex-offender and their incarcerated, their children and their families that suffer the invisible punishment after having a parent incarcerated and having to live life in their shadow. So I am just elated about this concept, and I'm trying to get people on board. I just want the public to know that this is not some entrepreneurial training camp that just caters to those individuals who have it together, needing to improve, but we need to do more than that. We need to empower those individuals who struggle in a system that has no idea of how to be innovative and inclusive in getting us ahead of the game. But it's our responsibility. We can do this if we only think about the principles of unity and collective work and responsibility and purpose and, teaching our generations that come after us what it means to trust and to build upon and to support one another and to be great at it, to give it 150%. That if we look within ourselves, each of us has a talent, has a gift, because God made us all beautiful, wonderfully made. No matter what anyone says to you, no matter what your situation is, no matter what your history is, just remember, you were beautifully and wonderfully made, and we all were, and no matter where you are today does not dictate where you will be tomorrow. People just have to have the desire to believe, and there are some that need a little extra help. That's where we come in coaching and mentoring and teaching and driving those individuals and teaching them that the glass is half full and not half empty, optimistic approaches versus pessimistic approaches. I thank God for my husband who cultivated me over those years when I didn't really understand what was going on, because he did. And today, I give him credit for pouring into me so many of the things that he has. I love you, Jeff Savage. And thank you for, being patient with me as I move through the process of positioning myself to be an entrepreneur and to teach other people to be entrepreneur and build a team of train the trainers, a partnership with individuals who have just enough audacity to be bold and courageous enough to defy the unconventional thinking or conventional thinking. See, so if we can think differently, then we can be different. And so there you have it. That's my story. You're speaking to Eve Angel Savage on the inside of the Entrepreneurial Circle. It has been a pleasure for me to talk about my story, where we're going and what we're doing next. We're looking to partnership with you, and it's all about you. And we thank you for listening today. If you want more information about our show and about Audacity, you can visit us at www.audacitygroupsocialenterprise.com. Also, we have a plethora of materials for those of you who are interested in starting your own business, teaching your family the concepts of business. We encourage you to reach out to us. We have our tapes available, our CDs available we can send. We have plenty of webinars and lots of great things coming up. Thank you so much for listening to Audacity Inside the Entrepreneurial.